We're back now, 8:09, with more of our conversation with Secretary Hillary Clinton. She opens up about her loss to Donald Trump in the last election in a new book. It's called What Happened? Secretary Clinton, good morning again. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Fans of yours, I think, are looking at this book and they're saying this is a frank assessment and this is a much needed discussion of the 2016 election. Foes of yours are probably saying, oh, here she goes. She's pointing fingers. She's whining. There is a lot of criticism in this book, and effort of full disclosure. You criticize me pretty soundly in a few pages of this book. When it comes to the self-inflicted wounds, when you look at the list of them, and you go through them in the book, did you make enough mistakes yourself to lose the election without any of the other things you talk about?
Well, I will say no, Matt. I don't think that will surprise you. But, you know, also, this book has a lot of behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to run for president, particularly, again, as a woman. So it's not all the sad side or the disappointment that obviously came because we lost, and especially somewhat bitterly because we won the popular vote so significantly. This is also a lot of the fun times, a lot of the pride that I took in running this campaign. There were frustrating moments, and I do write about some. And I personally believe that our press, which is such an essential part of our country, our democracy, has to take some hard look at how it covered what was the first reality TV candidate. And I understand how difficult that was.
I think you said that the media made an absurd circus out of the campaign.
Right. I think that was from my perception, but in looking at a lot of the post-analysis from independent groups, that seems to be, I think, a fair assessment overall, because we're living in a 24/7 news world, and people are saying things all the time. How do you fact check what everybody says? How do you get a sense of, you know, what's important compared to, you know, what's diversionary? So, you know, in the book, I write about some of what kept me going, even though it was a challenging time. And I think that sort of story of resilience, of how you get knocked down and you get back up, that's a part of it as well.
We talked about the tone of the book, and it's kind of Hillary unvarnished, unplugged, unleashed. And in that spirit, we wanted to kind of do a lightning round, look at some of the things that happened during the campaign and after.
Real quick take. When you heard the news that James Comey had been fired by President Trump, what was your immediate reaction?
He was fired for the wrong reason.
What should have been fired?
He should not have been fired for Russia. He should have been disciplined. Whether or not fired, that's not for me to say, but he should have been disciplined for the way that he behaved on the email investigation. And in fact, the Deputy Attorney General, backed by the Attorney General of this administration, laid out in excruciating detail all of the protocols and rules that he broke.
When he testified before Congress and said it, and asked whether he thought he had an impact on the election, he said it made him mildly nauseous. You write.
It made me sick to hear that, because of course he did. And look, absent that, I believe, and I think the evidence shows, I would have won. Were there headwinds? Yes. Were there lots of other issues? And this whole interference by Russia is still an issue? Absolutely. But the role that he played historically was determinative.
And you know this. Your detractors would say, wait a minute, this is a Republican candidate with historically low approval ratings. How could you have lost to him? Why was it ever that close where these kinds of headwinds? I mean, every campaign is tough.
Right.
How is it that you could lose to Donald Trump?
Well, I would say I lay out the reasons why I think that happened in the book, but all of our elections are close. And once he won the Republican primary and defeated, I think, 16 other candidates, he was going to get the partisan vote of Republicans. He got about 90% of the Republican vote. I got about 90% of the Democratic vote. So we know that these elections are close. And so what matters is what happens on the margins. And so, you know, before the Comey letter, according to the most recent polling at that time, I was like 26 points ahead in the Philadelphia suburbs. That meant women, Republicans and independent women, were going to vote for me, or they were telling pollsters that. I won by 13 points, so my lead was cut in half. Nothing else happened between, you know, that time of that poll and the election, other than the Comey letter. And I understand why voters would be shaken by it. and we didn't have time to recover from it.
A couple of quick takes on some things that have been in the news lately. This meeting that Donald Trump Jr. had at Trump Tower, Paul Manafort was there, Jared Kushner was there. There was a Russian government attorney or a Russian government attorney connected to the government. We now know it was promised that he would receive dirt on you.
Right.
Initially, we were told that was about Russian adoptions. He said, I love the fact that this could be about dirt. He now says he was trying to learn about your fitness for office. What's your immediate reaction?
It's ridiculous. It's another absurd lie to cover up what really was going on, which I hope we finally uncover and understand.
Donald Trump, when you hear, you were just watching our newscast the other day, and we said, or just a few minutes ago, we say President Trump this, President Trump that. When you hear that, President Trump, what visceral reaction do you have?
Well, he is the president. I respect, the fact that he is the president. I just wish that he were the president for all Americans. I wish that he was not engaging in a lot of the scapegoating and behavior in office that I think is bad for the country.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, we have just 10 seconds left. If this election, we have 9 months of this presidency now.
Right.
If the election were held today, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton on the ballot again, would you win?
Oh, I don't know. I think that there's at least a 50-50 chance I would. But before we go, I want to give you a copy of my children's book, just out. It Takes a Village. It's to Vale and Charlie. And I want to plug yours, Princesses Wear Pants. And I hope someday someone will write a book, Presidents Wear Dresses. And we're going to get it done, one way or the other.
There's all kind of cross-promotion going on here. I don't even know what to say. But Secretary Clinton, we appreciate you spending this time. And her book is What Happened.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.